Hello and welcome to another edition of ProtoMet's First Impressions, where I give my thoughts on the first episode of any new tokusatsu show. And today I'm going to be talking about the 0th episode of Mashin Sentai Kiramager. I'm actually about a month late, since apparently this episode 0 came out back at the beginning of February, just about. So I'm a bit late to it, but I only just now, today, got around to watching it. Doesn't matter why it's taken so long. This past Sunday was actually the airing of the first episode proper of the series. I have not yet watched that, so this is my thoughts on the 0th episode. First off, this series starts with, well, basically the premise of the show, which is that the planet Crystalia, I was trying to remember the name. The planet Crystalia is under attack from an evil space organization, Jotunheim, which is clearly named after Jotunheim from Norse mythology. Now, apparently, it's called Jotunheim because it's ruled by Emperor Jotunheim. The evil organization is called Jotunheim, named after the Norse mythology realm of Jotunheim, and it's ruled by an Emperor Jodan. So that's why it's called that. He doesn't show up in this 0th episode, as far as I'm aware. Maybe he shows up in episode 1, I haven't seen it yet. But the villain character that first shows up, who is clearly probably going to be a villain, general level character, you could see his mouth. You could see the actor's mouth. He was actively talking in the costume. You could see his mouth moving. I loved that. That was awesome. You don't see that very often anymore. Usually if they have a costumed character talking, they either usually don't do anything to indicate that the costumed character is talking, or they might just have some mouth movement. But here you could clearly see the suit actor's lower face and his mouth and his talking. That was cool. Liked that. I did like the weapons that the grunts used, which was like a kind of huge rake-like thing. Looked like a big claw on a stick. That was awesome. It looked dangerous. I liked the costume designs for the Crystallarians. The two that specifically show up are the king and the princess. And I'm actually struggling to remember what the princess's name is. I can't recall offhand. They got nice designs. They got all jade-colored skin, and their hair is like kind of a golden color, kind of like gold accents on a piece of jewelry. That's nice. Except for the princess's longer hair, which I kept forgetting she had, so when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That was more of a white color. I liked, long story short, I really liked the designs of the people of Crystallaria, the two that we got to see. And the king, he tells them, as the planet is under attack from Jotunheim, he tells the princess that she needs to go to Earth because a friend of his on Earth is willing to help out with dealing with Jotunheim. But she's reluctant to go because she doesn't feel like she's as strong or as brave as her father. But then Jotunheim actually manages to breach the castle, and he tells his daughter to hide behind a thing, and he confronts the invaders, and he's a bit surprised over the fact that they did manage to infiltrate the castle, but as it turns out, the reason why Jotunheim was able to infiltrate the castle was because they had an informant, the king's brother. His name started with a G. I'm pretty confident. I cannot remember what his name is, but the look he has, he's got more of an onyx look to him, as opposed to the jade color of the king and the princess. Nice. And for whatever reason, at the end of the episode or so, or thereabouts, he actually puts on another costume like a suit of armor type deal. So it's a character who is depicted via a costume wearing a second costume. Weird, but I'm gonna go with it because that's fine. It has a cool design. It's got a nice crescent design, whereas that general from earlier, the one you could see the actor's mouth, he had more like a theatrical mask, you know, the sorrow and tragedy and comedy on like his head with like hair sweeping around it. It was a pretty nice design. So after Jotunheim, after they kill the king and then drag his body away. By the way, when they're actually killing the king, they have the grunts swarming over the guy's body, and it almost looks like a scene from like a zombie movie where the zombies are crowding around a corpse and just tearing it apart. But a little later on, they show the king being dragged away and he's intact. But holy crap! Holy crap! Did that look kind of terrifying? Just all them swarming over the king as though they were oh. Wow. So Jotunheim leave with the king's corpse, which leads me to believe that maybe the king will come back from the dead as a bad guy. That's a possibility. Who knows? But the princess, she's left all alone in the throne room, which is now empty because everybody's left, and she finds these 5 stones, which are like these 5 gemstones, which are like the treasures of Crystallaria, and she is basically told to take these 5 crystals, the Kirame stones, I believe they're called, Kirame jewels. I can't remember if they're called stones or jewels, or maybe they're called gems, but she has to take them to Earth, and she does arrive on Earth via what seems like a clear glass comet, and she's retrieved by an organization called Carat. That's what they're called, that C-A-R-A-T. They got a nice a crown made of jewels as their emblem. Very nice. And they take it. Gonna get back to that soon enough. Then we cut to a school where we are introduced to this one daydreaming kid. I think his name is Atsuto, but it's pretty obvious that he's going to be the red. Not like there's no like, oh, this character's a red. It's like, no, this character's very likely going to be the red. It's just like a gut instinct that I have. I haven't actually looked at much of the promotional material to advertise this, so I'm just taking a guess at that. And there's more. How do I describe her? This one classmate of his sees that he's drawing something in his notebook, and she goes over to see it because she actually just wants to mess with him and get him to draw a picture of her as like a joke or whatever. And he doesn't let her see the drawing that he is working on, but he does ultimately agree to draw a picture of her, which takes pretty much the entirety of the episode. So this is where we leave him right now. We get back to the princess, who meets up with a guy who works at Carat, who actually is her father's friend, and he's introduced wearing a VR headset, and he explains it to her that he's in virtual Hawaii. Kind of fun, kind of really fun seeming character. They do a decent job of establishing him as kind of a fun character. Cool. He's got like a jeweled necklace. He's got like jewelry hanging around his neck and stuff. I wish I could just slap a picture of what he looked like on the screen. Probably not going to do that. Probably going to forget to. And he basically tells her that he's got things under control. He's going to help her find the Earth Warriors that can resonate with the Kirame stones, which can talk. The Kirame stones can talk. They have personalities. They have very distinct personalities. They're not just, oh, we're the Kirame stones, we can talk. No, there's like one who's pretty into cute. The pink one's into cute stuff. The yellow one, I don't remember. I think he gets fired up a bit. He gets real excited. The green one, I can't remember what that one's personality is, but the blue one, they've definitely got distinct personalities as soon as you start hearing them introduce themselves as the Kirame gems. So they and the princess go out to go search for the various warriors of Earth that resonate with the Kirame stones. And the first one that they meet, who is clearly set up to be the Green Ranger, is a track star. She races. She does track races. And what I really liked about her, the way she's introduced, is that she's introduced wearing a uniform with the Scratch logo and name. And when I say Scratch, I mean the SCRCH. I think that's how it was spelled. SCRCH. That is a company, a sportswear company that is introduced way back in Geki Ranger. Now, the fact that just happened to have Scratch logo, Scratch, clearly she's endorsed by Scratch. They're like a sponsor, probably. The fact that they called back to Geki Ranger just completely at random, awesome. That was awesome. I kind of wish that there were a few more callbacks to other Super Sentai shows, since this is basically going to be an anniversary season, given this is like, what is it, 45th or so season? I can't remember offhand. It's definitely an anniversary season, because Go Ranger came out in 75, so yeah. Yeah, 45th anniversary. Just did that all night. But that was awesome. She gets introduced to the princess and the Kirame Stone, who selects her as his partner. Then they encounter an actor who's appearing in a samurai movie that's being filmed, and the actor is himself played by the actor who played Crow in Garo Makai no Hana. I knew I recognized him. I had to look up what he was in and what character he played, but as soon as I was like, oh, yeah, no, that's what I recognize him from. Yeah, no. I definitely recognized him. I for sure was like, he looks real familiar. And he kind of plays it cool as an actor. He's playing a samurai in the movie that's being filmed, so the blue Kirame Stone is like, oh, I'm impressed with his sword fighting, even though it's just acting. It's impressive. Blue Ranger, yeah, obviously. Next we get to an esports competition. Nice. I don't watch esports myself, but the fact that we're getting a gamer as a character, nice. Hopefully they don't screw it up. And the yellow Kirame Stone resonates with him. I think it's about at this point that we actually start to get an explanation for some stuff. I think this point does explain things. Does have the yellow one explaining some of the stuff to the Yellow Ranger he's going to be. And then we get to a surgeon who is really cute and really good at her job. And this resonates with the pink Kirame gemstone. And she wants to partner up with this girl who is I recognized her too. She played Kanan, the younger sister of Kamen Rider Spectre, Kamen Rider Ghost. So right off the bat, she is Well, I'll say that her character in that was one of the least terrible things about that show, and leave it at that. But I actually have some pretty good expectations for this. So, and then anyway, they get introduced to the VR guy who still has his headset on for whatever reason, who tells them all about this stuff, gives them their transformation items, which is like a wheel on their wrist. It's like a huge, like, I want to say Showa or 90s era looking thing. This thing stands out like hard. It's like, oh yeah, no, that's a nice watch you got there. Just a wheel on their wrist. Kind of looks familiar, like I might have seen something similar to it in some other show. I don't know, maybe it's a reference to the wheel thing that they have in Go Under. Maybe, who knows? I don't know. Maybe it's a reference to Courage or Turbo Ranger or something. We're not introduced to the team's machines in this episode. Pretty sure that's probably going to get introduced in episode 1. But in the midst of all this, they end up getting attacked by the grunts of Jotunheim. And of course, the 4 ranger candidates just jump into action. The VR set guy, he gets attacked by one of the grunts and killed. Oh no. The 4 warrior candidates, they transform into the ranger forms and they kick butt. And then they all go over to grieve over the dead guy, who reveals that he's not actually dead. He also reveals that the whole thing with the grunts that attacking them, that was actually a sort of VR type deal. MR, I think it's called. Manipulated reality, if I'm not mistaken. It's definitely kind of a combination of VR, AR, and more physical aspects, because the Kiramagers actually have a battle with the grunts, and the guy explains that due to static electricity, he's able to replicate stuff, physicalize them via static, and the whole thing was just a test of them to see how capable they would be as warriors in the battle against Jotunheim. So, good. I think it's about at this point that, it's at about this point that we cut back to the Red, who is a high school student. Did I mention that? He's a high school student. And he finally finishes up the drawing of the girl who asked him to. And it is very detailed. And she is not at all impressed, because the kind of detail that he chose to include would be the kind of detail you expect an artist who specializes in horror pieces to make. It is, it's not terrifying, but it is quite off-putting. And it's not even a horrific rendition of her. It's really just an image of her head, her face, and then as he explains it, her different personality traits being manifested around her, and this puts her right off. But we do finally get to see what the picture that the Red was working on at the start when he was first introduced, and it turns out it is an image of the king's brother. You know, the bad guy who betrayed Crystalia. Why am I forgetting it? And I think it's at this point that we get the scene where the brother puts on the second costume that I mentioned earlier. And then the episode ends, and wow! Watching this, I had a lot of fun. I honestly had a lot of fun. I like the fact that the Rangers in this all seem to be from various different walks of life. And really kind of the whole setup felt very Showa. I really liked that. Really liked that whole Showa setup. It reminded me of shows like, let's see, Denzaman and Dynaman and Goggle 5 and Bioman, were just random people, but they're not as random as you might think. And they're from different walks of life. They come together to become heroes, and that's... Ooh, I had a lot of fun just watching this first episode. This 0th episode, actually. A lot of fun. I'm definitely looking forward to watching the first episode when I get a chance to. And I'm definitely looking forward to watching more of this series. And I seriously hope that it doesn't suck like the last couple seasons have. That having been said, wow, the ending of Ryu's Soldier was horrible. I mean, granted, the whole season was pretty bad, but wow, was that final episode just awful. But my thoughts on Mashin Sentai Kiramager? Yeah, go check that out. That 0th episode at the least, definitely worth checking out. Definitely does a good job of trying to introduce the characters and their personalities, and give an explanation for how they got their powers in the first place. Like some of the previous seasons, they like wait a little bit to tell you how the characters got their powers. I was like, ooh. Or they just don't explain it at all, like what happened in Q Ranger for like some of the early Rangers and that. It was like, oh, they're just Rangers right off the bat. This one actually did a proper job of introducing the characters and how they got the powers. Loved that. Loved the Showa feel of this whole thing. Loved the whole out there. It just feels very out there in a very good way. Very Showa. Like, that was the thing that struck me the most, was how Showa this 0th episode feels. And I hope that carries over to the rest of the show, while also having a well-written story, obviously. So, recommend you guys give Mashin Sentai Kiramager a watch. Start checking that out now that that's starting to come out. And until next time, this has been me, ProtoMet. See ya.